got back here, I think, well after 2, didn't you? But as your sort of head finally hit the pillow, a sense of relief and that it was a job that you got done and a bit of confidence all round and what you're
doing. Very proud, like I said last night. Outstanding effort by the players. Really important game for us in terms of the European context because, you saw how the results went last night. A kind of positive result there really sort of helped us in our target. And, thought the lads gave everything on the night. Senior players outstanding, young players as always giving everything they got. And, really pleased with the outcome.
You obviously spoke about Solanke and being out for around 6 weeks last night. And when you at this point of the season, there's so many big games for you coming up.
Yep.
Can that push or change or emphasise the need to bring reinforcements in, particularly in that position?
Well, it's all those things are known. Nothing's changed in the last 24 hours. We've known that
for a little bit worse.
But well, I mean, we kind of knew sort of with Dom probably a few days back. I've obviously had a press conference in the meantime, so all these things are known. So nothing changed, the last 24 hours that changes that part of it.
And you've had 13 fit players last night. I mean, you've got a couple more I think you can bring back in, haven't you? But how tough is it?
Not really.
Well, weren't there a couple that weren't registered last night that can play?
No, Jed's still sore from the weekend. He's a doubt for this weekend. He got a knock, so he's a doubt. Pape's still a doubt. Reggie should be okay. So, yeah.
I was going to let somebody else do the injury news.
That's all right.
But, yeah, in terms of like continuing to operate under these circumstances, how tough is it? Because it doesn't feel like there's going to be many people back in the next few weeks. It just feels like it's almost got to the point of not being unworkable, but being very, very hard to do your job.
It's not about me.
New people arriving.
Yeah, no, I understand the question. It's not about me. It's about the players, and it is getting increasingly difficult for them to maintain performance for sure because they're giving everything, and it's a small group. Look, we should have some light in the end of the tunnel in the next couple of weeks. It's not as dire as, but at the same time, there's always the possibility that before those guys come back, the loads we're putting on these guys, we might lose a couple of these. So that's always the challenging bit, and that's what we've been going through. It's been 2 months of sort of hard grind for the players, and as I keep saying, just trying to support them as much as we can and help them through it. They're working awfully hard on not just game time, but in between games to recover and give themselves the best chance of putting in the performances that's needed at this level. Obviously our schedule is not going to ease up at all. Like I said, we've got a massive game this week, and we've got a massive week coming in a couple of weeks' time. So, but at the same time, the resilience and the determination of the players to still get out there and perform is a fantastic thing for me to sort of witness and couldn't be prouder of them.
Nothing imminent, I think, was the line last night. Is that still the case as far as you're concerned in the 8 hours since we've spoken to you?
Transfer-wise, you mean? Yeah. Nothing really changed.
Morning. You ended the game last night with 5 teenagers on the pitch. Obviously, due to your injury crisis, you've been able to give more young players opportunities. But in a positive way, how has it been working with them and being able to be, this pivotal part? These are core memories at the start of their career that they're going to be able to lean on later on. Yeah,
look, absolutely. I've said before, I think, irrespective of kind of the difficulty we've had in the sort of last couple of months, we've definitely, we'll definitely benefit from the growth we've had from our younger players, absolutely. And, but again, we've just got to be careful with them because, so particularly Archie and Lucas and Mikey now coming back, we can't keep asking 18-year-olds to keep dipping in because the thing about the youth is they will keep going. They don't know how to stop. When you're young, you always want to give your best, and those guys are all giving their best. And to be fair to them, the quality of their performances, I thought Archie was, again, out of position, was brilliant last night. I thought Lucas just worked his socks off for the team. and Mikey, he gets an assist when he comes on, and so there's no doubt that we'll get enormous benefit for many years to come, hopefully, with those players, because they've had as tough a start to a career as I can probably remember in terms of their age and what they've been asked to do, whether that's Archie playing in multiple positions or Lucas to come in and become a real impact, in that midfield area, or Mikey at 16, 17. So from that perspective, I think it's hugely positive.
And you've got Leicester at home on the weekend. They're 19th, struggling a bit at the moment. Sometimes, though, that's when the teams dig in and they're able to pull out results. What type of battle do you expect on Sunday?
Yeah, it'll be a tough game, as you said. Leicester are in a fight there to stay in the Premier League, and with those kind of games, that they'll definitely come and try and make it as difficult as possible for us. But we're in our own tough moment in the league, and we're being at home, I think, will help us with the crowd. I think they can definitely give some energy to the players, and hopefully with a really good atmosphere, we can overcome the challenge.
And Son, he's now 10th place in the all-time appearances list for Spurs. He's played his 436th game, scored a brace. You spoke about the excellent leadership from the senior players last night. He's a really unique player. He has a great relationship with not just people in his team, but other football players and with the fans especially. How has it been for you to have that type of leader in your squad? Not everyone gets to have that sort of personality in their team. Yeah,
look, I've spoken about Sonny many times. He's, he's outstanding player, outstanding person. He's like the team. He's had to grind his way through the last couple of months. Again, we're asking him to play a hell of a lot, and as attacking players, it's always more difficult because you need that extra sharpness. But he's never shirked the challenge, and like I said, I thought last night we really needed some strong leadership, and I thought particularly early on, him, Matters, Rodri and Ben in particular, and Decky, they're the sort of five kind of men we've got in the team. The rest of them I still think, very young, and Richie's only coming back from injury, so it was important that they stood up last night, and I thought they did that really well.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Ange, you just mentioned Richie there. How fit is he to sort of play like maybe game after game after game in this period?
As fit as it could possibly be. We're obviously managing his minutes at the moment. He felt good last night, he got through it, but he hasn't played for a long time, so he's not going to be at his sharpest. Still got to manage that, but the reality is that, unless something changes, he has to play.
Is it nice to sort of throw him in the deep end and say, look, your chances now, there's nobody blocking you, there's no Dom Solanke, you're the number 9? I
don't think Richie cares about Dom Solanke or anyone else. He's, when Richie's playing as Brazil's number 9, when he played for us last year, he was scoring goals. So I think it doesn't work. I don't think Richie was ever sort of worried about. I think he'll welcome Dom coming back. Even both of them playing together could be a force for us. So I don't think that factors into it. I think Richie's just happy that he's physically in good shape, and he's able to start contributing. And a lot of the injured guys, their biggest probably frustration is they can't help the team. And I know that's his main driver right now.
And lastly from me, you've played 35 games already this season. Last season you'd played 41 at the end of the year. Do you think the squad has been big enough for the challenges you've had and the intensity?
Well, you can always look. I mean, that question's been asked. You can have 50 players. I mean, at the end of the day, we've had a really bad sort of set of circumstances where injuries have sort of cascaded on us in terms of key areas of the park, and irrespective of the size of the squad or the whatever the squad should be, any team would get affected by that. I get that, people want to sort of delve deeper into that. Ultimately, that's the situation we're in. I don't think anything could have changed any differently. Any team that loses the amount of players we have, irrespective of your squad, and it's a key players. It's not like we haven't lost the 18-year-olds in our team. We've lost our starting goalkeeper, our starting centre backs, left backs, strikers, you name it. We've lost it for all different circumstances, and from that perspective, I think it's not about the size of the squad. I think it's just about the cards we've been dealt.
Hi Ange, hope you're well. What do you hope the players and the club in general have learnt from the testing times you've had over the last couple of months?
I don't think. Look, I don't think the players need to learn anything. I think the players, as I said, they've done their utmost to carry us through this. There's nothing more anyone can ask of the players. I mean, you can talk about, the level of performance and all that, but when people are giving absolute maximum, I mean, look, we as I said, at Everton we weren't great, but at 3-0 at half time, they decided that they were still going to dig into any bit of energy they had to try and get us back in the game. At 3-2, we're a chance to get something out of the game. So this group of players doesn't need to learn anything. What they've shown is that, they're fighting for the club, they're fighting for themselves, they're fighting for, those people around them, and I think that's a real positive. As a club, there's always learnings in terms of, the way we've got through this period. We're not out of it yet, but I've always felt that getting through difficult periods, should you stay calm and maintain the course, usually you get a positive outcome.
And you spoke there about the fight that the players have shown and how proud you've been by the performance last night. Do you think that's made them even more motivated to try and win one of those cup competitions that you are still in between now and the end of the season?
I don't think it's made them more motivated, but that's also the reality. As much as I get that all the focus is on our league form, and hasn't been great, and we have to turn that around. The reality is, we are still in other competitions, and we're very deep in one where we know we're in the knockout stages of Europe. We're a step further forward in the FA Cup, so no extra motivation there. There's plenty of opportunity and things to look forward to in this next sort of 2-3 months for us to make sure we finish the season strong.
And lastly from me, can you give us a little bit of an insight into the conversations that have been going on behind the scenes to try and get to the bottom of why this has been such a difficult and testing period for you?
Just injuries. I mean, you can walk outside and say, geez, it's really bright, and look at the sun and think, oh, maybe it's not the sun, but it's the sun, mate. We've just got injuries. And you can ask, you can do a million investigations and talk to anonymous sources, but you don't need to talk to anonymous sources. You can talk to me. Every decision that's made is on me. I'm responsible for it. I'm the one that's guiding this. If you're looking for a head on a stick, take mine. But I am absolutely 100% confident that we are in a much better place in all areas of the football club today than we were when I started. Thank you, bud.
Hi, Ange. Christian was back on the training pitch the other day. Is he in a position to return to the squad this weekend? And
no, mate, no. It's just, like I said, we got him back training, but him and Mickey are the two next, sort of comes out of the long-term ones anyway, and they still got a bit to do in terms of get some training into them with the team. Obviously, we haven't been training a lot, and because of the other day, it was a pretty sort of low tempo session. It was just good to get him involved, not just for him, but for the players themselves, because they, like I said, they need a bit of help. They need some encouragement, and seeing Kuti training with them gives them a big lift, and Mickey's not too far away, and I think that, because again, these players will come back. They're not, knock on wood, they're not deceased. They're just injured, so they will be all back. So it's not all doom and gloom. But it's good to see it for the players. Not just, so he's joined in training the last couple of days, but he's still got a bit of work to do.
yeah. Last night, Archie gave everything on the pitch, fell to the ground at the full-time whistle, seems to be holding his leg. Was that touch of cramp or maybe anything?
No, he got a knock towards the end of the game on his knee, but he's just exhausted, mate. I'm sure he'll be back in this morning, doing everything right like he does. As I said, the players are trying to work as hard as they can between games to recover and make sure they're ready to go. So nothing significant came out of last night apart from sort of fatigue, nothing else.
You said 2 weeks ago that Will Lancashire could maybe leave on loan. Is that still the case, or does Dominic Solanke's injury maybe change things?
Well, I mean, we'll just kind of assess it as we sit right now. Obviously, with Dom being out, we've just got to be sort of mindful of not leaving us with a further player short.
Hi, Ange. You praised Dom for his on-field leadership a couple of weeks ago. So just wanted to know how much you're going to miss what he offers, not just on the ball, but off the ball and in the dressing room as well over the next few weeks.
again, it is what it is. He's not the only one. We've lost, like I said, we lost Romero, we lost Vicario, who are two actually part of our leadership group. So that we've been dealing with that kind of stuff for a while.
Missing lots of forward players at the moment. You've had a couple more. Wondered, could you potentially recall any of the players who are out on loan, like Manor Solomon, Brian Hill? Has that been considered?
No.
And then just final one from me. Wanted to ask about Callum Olasesi. Came on for his debut last night. What he's been like training with the group and what you thought of his performance.
Yeah, Callum's. We've had quite a few young boys training with the group, and obviously with the situation we're in, it's allowed them to sort of understand sort of what it takes to even train at this level, and Callum's been great. He's obviously a very talented young player. He's one of the ones we really got high hopes for, but obviously he got a taste of it last night, which is great for him and I guess his family, and hopefully that gives him encouragement. But he's still got a long way to go in terms of becoming part of the first team. But I guess in all these kind of scenarios, you hope that the experiences they gain sort of fuels it even further. Although I think he's a very motivated young player, and like I said, we've got high hopes for him.
Hi, Ange. You said a couple of weeks back about Europe in January kind of complicating this window a little bit. Do you think we could maybe see a bit of a mad rush when it ends next Wednesday, Thursday, of clubs being more open to selling players that they were holding on to try and get through to the knockout phase? Yeah,
potentially. I mean, I really think that has been a factor because if you kind of look at the way the European competitions are stacking up, that'd all be done and dusted by now. People know if they're in the Champions League or if they're in Europa or whatever, and adjusted their sites. So maybe after last night. I mean, I haven't had a close look at the 3-page table, but thankfully we're on the first. I don't have to go beyond that. But if there's any sort of significant clubs that now kind of figure out we're out of a competition, that may make sort of things happen a bit quicker.
And it's kind of felt like you've probably needed at least a body or a player during these first 3 weeks of the window because you had so many key games. Would you be kind of happy to bring in a player just to improve the squad depth, or if there's a player that's coming in, do you want them to be able to really make a big impact in the next 4 months?
Look, it just depends. It depends on the player. It depends on sort of how they fit into what we do. It's not just about bringing in another body, but there's still no doubt we need to help these players because, like I said, we've still got some significant games, in the next sort of 2-3 weeks before we get players back.
And last night, you obviously created a load of chances first half, and then had to really dig deep in the second half. Sort of earlier in the season, obviously, when you didn't have the injuries, it felt like you were kind of blowing teams away and winning 4-1, 5-0, 4-0. How important was it to get kind of an ugly win, so to speak, last night, and I guess to give the group belief, because it feels like these next games coming up are you're not gonna blow teams away. You're gonna have to sort of do it ugly a little bit.
Yeah, I mean that depends. I mean, I know he's saying about ugly last night, but the only reason it was ugly was the players were out on their feet in the second half. I think we still could have. I thought our football in the first half was outstanding. I mean, we scored 2 goals, but we probably had great chance to score 2-3 more, and again, would have blown them away. But we had to dig deep second half. We kind of knew we had to because obviously, the players were going to feel the sort of fatigue, and I couldn't really make substitutions, significant ones, to change that a lot. So we knew that we're going to have to rely on that sort of starting 11 to carry us through the majority of the game. Although, like I said, it was good to throw Mikey on and he can make an impact. So within that context, it was good that they fought it out. I thought, Sonny's third goal was also important because you always feel like, that when you're playing away from home and with the home crowd, that the opposition are going to create chances. But I thought for the most part the lads handled it well. Even Brandon, that's his first European game. We can't sort of overstate that we've thrown him in. And again, in a European game of consequence, it's not like it's a game of no consequence where you see a lot of these kind of decisions made. We've backed him in a big game, and I thought he delivered.
Okay, we'll end the broadcast section there. Move on to the embargo.